Hey guys, welcome to my channel Hammond's Hobbies. My name's Glenn and today I'm going to talk about my opinions on investing in F1 sports cards. Let's get right into it. So before we get into today's main topic, please, whatever you do, whether you don't like this content or whether you do, smash up either the like button or dislike, I don't care which one, but make sure you engage, comment down below, share this with your friends or anyone that's into F1. I'd love to get any thoughts and opinions from any of you guys. I like to hear other people's opinions, not just my own. So I'm just trying to spark conversation with my opinions, and obviously I would love for you to answer back with your opinions. You can also contact me through any of my social medias. So I have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all with the name Hammond's Hobbies. You can also find me on the Facebook group called F1 Sports Cards, and I've just posted a link to a spreadsheet of all the cards that I'm currently looking for, trying to hunt down for my own personal collection. So if you want to see that spreadsheet and if you've got some cards for sale that you'd like to do a deal on, whether that's trades or just straight up cash, go on over to the F1 Sports Card Facebook group. The link to it is in the top of this description. It's the first thing that comes up. If you click that link, it will take you to that group. Join the group. It's free for anyone to join. You can chat about F1. You can post sale items on there. I obviously don't want no scams and stuff like that, so feel free to obviously join that group. Anyway, that's enough of me shilling my social media. Let's get right into today's main topic, and that is obviously investing in F1 sports cards. Now, I will say that what I'm about to say is just my opinions. I'm not any financial advisor, and I don't want anyone to go out there and do anything silly with their own personal money, but these are just my opinions, so please take that on board. So what should you invest in F1 sports cards terms in the sort of immediate to long-term layout? Me personally, and I'm going to say this straight off the bat, and this may trigger some people, this may upset some people, or it may just make you switch off, but make sure you smash the like button before you go. I honestly believe that you shouldn't invest in sports cards in F1 at all. I think that you should just buy the cards that you love. Whether you like Sapphire, whether you like Flagship, whether you like Turbo Attacks, I think you should just buy the cards you like the look of, or the cards of the drivers and teams that you like to support. That way, when the cards go up in price, happy days, everyone's happy, cards have just gone up in value. When they go down, you think, great, I can buy the cards that I was aiming to get for a fraction of the price that I was willing to pay for it a couple of weeks ago. So it's always win-win, no matter what, win-win. Now, saying that, I personally have a list, and I wrote this list down, and I know this won't look that good on camera, but I have this list here of all the sort of stuff that I'm currently looking to get to sort of complete my own personal collections. I've wrote a 2-page list. I didn't write this for this video. I wrote this maybe a month ago, maybe something like that. And I was looking through it the other day, and I wrote down, when I originally wrote this, what I think it would cost me to get these items. So say like Ivory at Sapphire 2021 box, at the time they were going for about £1,200, and I wrote here, you can see here, I thought, if I haggle with someone, I'll get it for this bottom one here, £1,000. It's probably backwards to you guys, so it'll be no good anyway. Now, at the time, I thought, that'd be a steal if I can get one for that sort of price. But someone messaged me the other day saying, Glenn, would you like to buy a Sapphire box for £750? Well, that's a 25% reduction in what I was thinking in my head I was willing to pay only 2 weeks ago. So, this is a great time to complete those sets or collect the cards that you're after. And obviously, get the fun and enjoyment out of the hobby, and that's what I plan to do. I as you guys know, watching my content, I like to complete master sets like the ones you see behind me here. I like to complete Sapphire. I like chasing F1 Dynasty cards. I also really like, and I'm really looking forward to, Match Attax 2022 coming out, and I want to complete a whole set of that. That's just me personally, but you may be really into, I don't know, Sebastian Vettel, and you want like a collection of PSA 10 Sebastian Vettels. Great, because Sebastian Vettel cards are now cheaper today than they were a month ago, so you'll be able to complete your set even quicker. So it's a win-win all the time, whether prices of cards are going up or whether they're going down. That's my personal take on it. Now, some of you don't want to hear that. Some of you want to know, how can I double my money quickly? Well, what I would say is that a lot of people in the sport card market talk about investing in the greats of all time, so your Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappens, but I would say that's already priced into a lot of these drivers. Where I do see value that can be added quite quickly is when we see F2 drivers that get signed to F1, we see a huge influx in price of all of their cards, and we see investors flock to obviously really low numbered cards, especially if they're graded. Now, what I personally feel that means is that if you look at the Chrome 2021 set, you can pick up a lot of their autograph cards very cheaply. Like, I'm talking 20 quid, 30 quid for an autograph driver card, obviously from F2. Now, not all of them are going to go and get into F1. I know that. But you've got to say, 2 or 3 of them may do. Especially over the next few years, we've got obviously 2 new manufacturers joining. We've got Volkswagen and Porsche joining, both huge German institutions. So you would imagine at some point they're going to sign an F2 driver, and typically what a lot of these teams do is they take on one experienced driver, and then they have the hot new talent coming in, and you normally have that mixture. That's typically how F1 teams run, and that's how they've run for a long time. So I would say that the biggest gain is in an F2 driver that then gets signed for F1. Obviously, which one though? That I don't know. I can't put my honest hat on and say, oh yeah, I think it's going to be this guy, because I would just be lying. I'd be making something up. We've seen obviously Oscar Piastri performing really well. A lot of people would champion him from the 2021 set, but he may get signed a bit like Mick Schumacher. Everyone thought Mick Schumacher would be at Ferrari by now. Well, he's not, and Carlos Sainz is there for another year or two. So we know Mick Schumacher's not going to be in a Ferrari for a couple of years yet. Now, that's not to say it won't happen, but it's just unlikely. And Mick Schumacher at the moment is not performing particularly well. He hasn't scored a point yet in a car that's, able to score points. At any point, obviously, any of these drivers could have an accident. I don't want to say it on camera, but motorsport is a very dangerous sport, and we do lose drivers. Obviously we lost Jules Bianchi a few years back. You hear about other drivers in F2 and F3 having accidents and obviously not seeing their parents at the end of the race. It's awful. So that could happen at any time. We saw Roman Grosjean in that massive ball of fire, and no one knows how he survived that. We could have lost him. So it's live sport. It would be very difficult to say, yep, that's the guy you should invest in, because at any moment it could change. And, obviously when you're investing your own personal money for the opportunity of it going up in value, it's really hard to pinpoint, like Kevin Magnussen coming back this year. No one expected that. Obviously with the war between Russia and Ukraine, no one saw that coming. Kevin Magnussen cards were dirt cheap, and now obviously he's doing really well, and his cards have massively gone up in value. Jo Young-un, he was an F2 driver. I could have picked up but I could have picked up one of these autograph refractor cards from Chrome 2021 for £20, £30 at some points, like even like a green, or you could have picked up for 80 quid. I remember seeing one of his autograph cards once the news came out that he was going to drive for Alfa Romeo. They were selling for £1,000. So like, that's, I can't work out that percentage. You're talking about 2,000%. I don't know, whatever that may be. So it's a huge swing. So in terms of investing, I would say F2 drivers are the way forward, because you can pick them up dirt cheap. You can buy a lot of them. You know, if you honestly thought, right, this F2 driver, this Oscar Piastri, you could probably get 3, 4, 5 of his autograph cards and get them all graded and try and get 9s, 10s. And if he does get into F1 eventually, get in a seat, then boy, you've just made big bucks. So I feel like that's the best way to invest. But like I say, it's me being a Lewis Hamilton fan, it'd be very easy for me to sit here and do a video and say, yeah, you should invest in the greatest of all time, Lewis Hamilton, blah, blah, blah. But I think that's already priced in, so I don't see the huge gains being returned. Now, there are going to be cards that Lewis Hamilton cards go for 1.5 million at auction, but unless you've got a one-of-one superfractor autograph Lewis Hamilton sitting around in your garage, chances are very little. I know someone who's got that. So it's very unlikely. The chances are, when people are investing in F1, they're going out and they're saying, right, Lewis Hamilton's the greatest of all time, and they're buying his base cards and his flagship cards and his sapphire cards, just the normal base set, and they're mass produced. There's thousands and thousands of them, tens of thousands probably. So they're never going to hold that much value. And you got to think, like, if you're buying it for a £5, and you get, even if you get it graded and it's a PSA 10, now it's worth £50 to £100. Even if he does become the greatest of all time, it will always just be a mass-produced card. So, you know, are you willing to sit on something for 5 to 7 years just to say, oh look, I bought that for £100, now it's worth 200? Great, you know, you were better off selling it probably at £100 and putting that £100 in something else. You know, at the time you've lost that opportunity cost. So that's my take on the market. I feel that the biggest money to be made in F1 is not buying rookies, it's not buying obviously like some of the greatest of all times. I believe that it's in the F2 drivers. It does mean you've got to take a bit of a punt on who's actually going to get signed. You could buy 20 F2 driver cards and maybe only 2 of them will ever make it to Formula 1, which means you've just lost money on the other 8. But if you're buying during a recession, bearing in mind all the cards are dropping at the moment, if you're buying during a recession time and you're buying the cheapest cards out there, like the cheapest driver cards, but you're getting low numbered, so not mass produced stuff, I'm talking like they're gold autograph cards, they're one of ones, one of 10s, one of 25s of some of these F2 drivers. If one of these do get signed, all of a sudden you've just bam, you know, one card would make up for all that you would buy. That's personally where I see the most money. It's not what I'm going to do. It's not something I'm not trying to chase at the moment. I like to complete one of every set. So for me, all these cards dropping in price, great. I can pick up all the cards that I want that I need to complete my sets for a fraction of the price that they were 2 weeks ago. Oh, fantastic. What great news. This is the greatest thing that could have happened to me. So I'm really happy about it. I hope that you guys would be too. I know some of you, though, do invest, obviously, your hard-earned cash, and you expect a return. You expect, like, this is going to go up in value. And obviously, with a recession kicking in, they haven't officially declared it in the UK, but I'm sure over the next few months, it will be in the news a lot more that we are officially in a recession. I think it's going to take quite a while for this to kick back in, bearing in mind, and I'm getting a bit deeper into more the economy overall, we haven't been in a recession since 2008 and we're now in 2022. So you're talking about 14 years of constant prosperity. And that's a long time. Typically, we have a recession every 8 to 10 years. So we've gone the longest period of time without a recession that, you know, on history. So all people have seen is price go up for 14 years. And for some people in this hobby, that may be their whole lifetime, or especially their whole adult lifetime. So they have a delusion of what this market is and what this hobby is because they've never seen a downtime. So when you see that downtime and it happens and you haven't prepared for it, you haven't put, money aside or even broke even from what you've put in, they're going to struggle. They're going to really struggle, and they may lose a lot of money on it. So what I typically try to do is I have all my cards here, and all the cards that I have, I work really, really hard. Like all these F1 cards, these are all Chrome 2020. I try to make sure that they don't owe me nothing. So, I'll buy like a bunch of cards off someone for say 500 quid. I'll try and make that 500 quid back. And if I'm left with say 50% of the cards or whatever it may be, they don't owe me nothing. So if we've gone in a recession, you could look at all those cards and say, well, Glenn, you've just lost like 50p or £1 off every single card. So what? I don't care. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. So that's how I've always tried to run. Now, if you watch some of there's a guy in America who owns a card shop called Burbank Cards, very famous cards. He has a YouTube channel and he does a lot of Instagram stories. I watch a lot of his videos, and he talks about how in this hobby, how lazy people are. People are willing to go and buy cards, but they can't be bothered to list cards individually on eBay, and that's obviously where you get your biggest margins. What people will typically do is they will get a big bunch of cards and they'll just put a lot of 100 Chromes from 2021, and it'll go for like 15-20 quid. But if they sat there and listed them all individually, some will sell, some wouldn't, some will take longer than others, but they may get £2-3 per card, and if there's 100 cards in there, well, now that's £300. So then they can break even. But people can't be bothered. It is a lot of work. It is really hard. It's really time consuming. It means taking time away from your wife and kids and friends, and days out and evenings out with mates up the pub. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. I enjoy doing what I do, so I actively enjoy it. So I'll do it anyway. I was just thinking today, before I started recording this video, I might list some cards on eBay, and I'll sit there and watch documentaries while I'm doing it. So I'm sort of like watching TV whilst listing. So for me, I try and follow that Burbank cards mentality of like taking in as many cards as I can, as many as I can financially put up with without struggling. And I sit there and put in the graph that, listing, shipping out, postage, feedback, paying the eBay fees, keeping up with the store, keeping up with Facebook, keeping up with Instagram. I put in many, many hours to break even. So times like this recession, it won't affect me in any way, shape or form. Now, it means that, if I did decide to clear up, if I was like, right, I've had enough of this hobby and I want to sell up, I won't get as much money now as what I would have done maybe 4 months ago. But I plan to be here for a long time. I like collecting cards. I was collecting Pokemon cards for a few years before I started doing F1, and I really love F1. F1's always been, for me, like my sport. It's always been the sport that everyone knows me for. All my friends and family, they always, Glenn's into F1, So I plan to stick around for a long time. And for me, I'm going to ride out the good times and the bad times. And I'm going to make sure that in those good times, I try and break even as quick as possible, so that if the bad time rolls around that next week or next month, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I've had an issue with my and I'm rambling now on about. I had an issue with my eBay store, so some of you may have noticed that my eBay store at the moment is shut down. I sold a complete Sapphire set to someone in America, and I sent it through the eBay International Seller Program, and the item got lost. Now eBay are saying that they hold responsibility of it, but they won't return the 2,200 back to me. So I'm currently in a state of appealing it, and I'm waiting to hear back this week actually from the outcome of that. Now, anyway, the reason I bore you with that story is I haven't been selling anything for maybe a month now. I've made a couple little sales through Facebook groups. Obviously, I'm in a lot of the Facebook groups. I've created my own Facebook group, which you should join. It's called F1 Sports Cards. And yeah, people reach out to me now. I tend to find a lot of people reach out to me now. So I just get, like today I got a message, "Hi Glenn, have you got a complete set of Chrome 2021? And I said, yeah, I have. I've got 4 of them. And they said, great, can I have one of them? How much do you want? I said, I don't know. And I just made a figure up. I was like, I don't know, like 300 quid. And he was like, yeah, right then. So I was like, okay, cool. So, I made 300 quid just sitting there. So that's good. Obviously people are knowing me for F1, and obviously I provide I would say a good service. So they're coming, people that have bought from me are returning back to me over and over again, and they're buying stuff off me without me even advertising it now. So I've got another gentleman that wants Christian Lundgaard cards because he's going to a race in France and he's going to be there and he wants to sign it. I said, do you know what, here's a load of cards, I don't want nothing for him, I just get me an autograph. And he was like, oh, are you sure? So people are reaching out to me more so than I'm listing. But obviously that's because I've been selling during the tough times, that now something bad has happened. Now imagine if that was my livelihood, selling those cards on that eBay store, and it just got shut down just like that. That's like someone just getting the sack one day, really unexpectedly. Luckily, this is just a hobby for me. This is just fun. This is just, I break even from it every time I get a bunch of cards off someone. Even, I don't know if you saw my most recent video where I showed off the gold autograph cards. So I did a deal with someone for those for like 1,000, I'm going to say 1,300 straight away. Soon as I agreed the deal, I put a post up with all the other autograph cards that I didn't want anymore, because I was like, well, I'm going to have a load of gold Ray Wave cards. So I sold all my refractor ones, the green ones, an F1 Dynasty, and I broke even. So those gold cards, they don't owe me nothing. So, it doesn't bother me if the market goes up or down. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm rambling on a bit now, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Where would you invest your money in sport card market at the moment? What would you do? It seems like the box breakers seem to be finding it a bit hard to fulfill their box breaks at the moment. Obviously card sales are dipping. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. Maybe you guys have got more creative ways. I know in America they're using a thing called Whatnot or something like that. I haven't gone into that. I think it's only for Americans. So that may be a more creative, fun way of selling products, So I'd love to hear any feedback. Let's start some conversation. Comment down below. Find me on social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all with the name Hammond's Hobbies. I'd love to hear from you. Or join my Facebook group, which is F1 Sports Cards. It's completely, open and free to join. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. I'll hopefully see you on the other side. My next video is going to be about my son Jack. We went to this really cool shop called the Nerd Base. So I'm going to be doing a video. I've got to sit there and edit it, and I know that's going to take me hours. So I'm going to do that now. And if you want to check out my spreadsheet, also go over to that F1, the Facebook group. I've listed every single card. That took me hours to do that spreadsheet. It's got on there very clearly the cards I need and the cards that I've already got. If you've got any that I need, contact me. Hopefully we can do a deal and I can complete my sets quicker. So that's it from me, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.